Welcome to the Rock Online platform. My name is Martis Jayoba, and I want you to listen and see how we are going to prepare you for upcoming exams, like NECO and Jamb, literature in English. So I urge you to sit down and relax, and don't forget to subscribe and like as well as share. Thank you. All right, let's see the first question we have there, and that is we see a text there. The water is boiling on the Bunsen burner. This exemplifies the use of, we have the options there: alliteration, assonance, onomatopoeia, personification, and turn. So from the expression in the text, boiling on the burning basin burner, this is an alliteration. B, that is a consonant. The first word that is there on B is a consonant word B. Then we have another one very close to it. That is another B on Bensy. Then the last one there, Benner, we have BBB, and that expresses a sound, alliteration. That is A is an answer. Let's move to the next question. The technique that evokes curiosity in a work of art is, we're talking of curiosity. You want to know what is going to happen. What is the next thing? So you are looking at the next thing, and that is what we call suspense, either in drama or in prose. So something keep you, something glue you down. You want to see the next thing. So, and that is what we call suspense. It is not battles, it is not flashback, and not projection, and not prologue. So that's suspense. Let's move to the next question. Metaphysical poetry is characterized by the following, except, so let me talk about metaphysical poetry first. Metaphysical poetry deals with poems that are, intellectually contested. You argue it and make use of so many figurative expressions like assonance, metaphor, simile, and others, irony. And let's, from these options, these are features. We have the features like extended simile and paradox. Imaging is also part of it, an exaggeration, intellectual argument. That is, in fact, one of the major features of metaphysical poetry. And the legal register is not part of it. The use of conceit. And so the answer is D, not part of it. Legal register is not there. So let's move to the next question. A play which ends on a catastrophic note is a comedy, a farce, melodrama, tragedy, tragicomedy. So here, when the play ends in a catastrophic note, it is a tragedy. It's not palatable. You don't see some things that gladdens your heart at the end of the day. Maybe somebody died or something mysterious happened to the main character, the hero. So that's a tragedy. So let's move on to the next one. An obscene person who reminds character of their lines or speech. You can see the person, you may not be able to see him, but he reminds the characters of what to say, particularly in speech, and maybe to recite something, So it is not costumier, it is not designer, It is not director, and it is not producer. That's a prompter. So it tells you what you're going to say in line. You need to recite something or to make a quotation or speech. So let's move on to the next question. The major difference between Shakespearean sonnet and other sonnet is, when you look at Shakespearean sonnet, you discover that it has a lot of rhyme schemes. For example, you can have ABA, BC. You also have, others. But what actually differentiates you from others, from other sonnets, is that rhyme scheme. It's always you have that. You can have AA, BB, CC, DD. So just like that. So the rhyme scheme is the one that actually but you can have blank parts and half other one without rhyming at all. But in Shakespeare, so you have that in the sonnet. Rhyme scheme is a very prominent feature there. So can we move to the next question? A poetic inscription on the tomb of a dead person is not a dirge, it is not an elegy, it is not an epic. A dirge could be a song, probably in a funeral, and the elegy could be a poem you recite at a particular dead person or a funeral too. An epic could be you are trying to eulogize a person of great repute. You compose a poem, to dedicated to that person. Then we have epitaph and we have lullaby. It is not lullaby. Lullaby is a poem, or probably you sing to allow a child to sleep. If a child is restless, you want to play, and you are using that kind of song. So is it epitaph? You write it there, probably you write sleep on, rest in peace, adieu, at the graveyard or the tomb of a dead person. And this is what we call epitaph. Let's go on to the next question. You have to live your life so that you can save it. And this is an example of a paradox. A paradox is a figure of speech that is self-contradictory. When you look at it, how can you lose your life? And at the same time, you want to save it. So you have to make a sacrifice so that something can happen. So it is a paradox, just philosophy of life. So that is the question. The answer is paradox, and that's option D. Can we move on to the next question? That character features most prominently in a literary work. So which character that features prominently in a literary? It's not comic, it is not flat, it is not void, it is not round. It is the main character. So the whole story revolves around such a character, and you see him everywhere. So he features prominently in the literary work. So the next question: the identity of the narrator is not recognized in a drama, and that is true. So the identity of the character, of a narrator, is not recognized. It's not important. So you don't know, the narrator in drama. Not first person narrative prose, not second person narrative, and not third person narrative. So the answer there is in drama. You don't recognize the identity of the narrator. Let's move on to the next question. A commentary at the end of the play is a chorus. That's not so. Documentary, it is not the answer. Epilogue, that is the answer. And it's not monologue, it's not prologue. Prologue is like an introduction. When you begin a play, for example, you can say, ladies and gentlemen, the play you're about to watch is titled Olurongbe and Akwendiekpo. So you introduce, then what happened at the end of the day? And you ask the cast to come in. And at the end of the play, you also come out again, one of the character comes and say, ladies and gentlemen, you have all seen how Olurongbe sacrificed her only begotten daughter, beautiful daughter, to the idol, so that it could conquer a particular war. And that's what we call epilogue. It's just like conclusion. So the commentary at the end of the play is epilogue. So let's move on to the next question. They are done one by character in a play. You can have different, you may call it apparel, but that is not the technical word in literature. You can also have an attire, you can have a garment, you can have a regalia, but these are not technical names. So the name given to all these one, either apparel, attire, garment, regalia, is called costume. So you wear costume, whatever kind of clothes you wear, either an apparel or attire, or garment or regalia, it is called costume in literature or in drama. So the answer there is costume. Let's move on to the next question. The queue at the station is as long as the NNPC pipeline is an example of. So let's look at some of the figure of speech. The queue at the station is as long as the NNPC. As long as the NNPC. Compare the queue to, a pipeline, has no end from one place to the other. Very, very long. So it looked ironical. It sounded unbelievable at the same time. But it is not ironic. It is not a metaphor. It is not personification. It is simile because of the use of as long. You are comparing. It's a comparison. So you are using as. Either you use as or like. So compare. So anytime you look at as, you see an as, you compare something with another using the as and also using like. And that's what we call a simile. So it's an indirect comparison. So indirectly you are saying the queue is very long and you compare it to an NNPC pipeline. Can we move to the next question? So the effect of using rhetorical question in a literary work is to, so the first one there, bore the audience. That is not so, because you ask question that has no answer. And sometimes we look at some preachers or politicians, they are fond of using rhetorical question. A politician campaigning, and particularly campaigning that they should vote for him, he will ask a question. Is there anybody here who will not want the child to go to school? Is there anyone here who will not want the children to travel abroad? Is there anyone here? And nobody will. So it's a question without an answer. The same thing a pastor in a church or a preacher can ask a question. Is there anybody here who want to go to hell? So nobody is ready to answer the question. That's what we call. So we are trying to touch the heart of the audience to gain their attention. So it is not to bore the audience. It is not to confuse the audience. It is not to distract the audience from the main point. And the answer is to engage and persuade the audience so that they can follow you. They can see what you see. And it is not to test the audience knowledge. So let's move on to the next question. A round character is particularly associated with change and growth. That is just the answer. It is not courage and determination, and not honor and determination. It is not simplicity and modesty. It is not stability and consciousness. It is change and growth, because it's round. So you see, give him any role, he plays it. Put him anywhere, he's alive to the responsibility, and he adapts to change, adapts to growth at any time. So just put in some characters so like they can blend. Just give them any role to play. Where you see some are static, they want to stay in one main role. So see them in anywhere. So they always play one role. You see them in this a character that loves to eat food. Is always eating food anywhere. So, but a round character can blend. So the is associated with change and growth. Can we move to the next question? The figures of speech. The figure of speech that presents an unpleasant idea in a dignified manner. So sometimes this is common, and particularly with preachers and also the politicians, and some people who like to, understand language very well. So you discover that they don't want to hurt people. They don't want to hurt the feelings of another people. For example, somebody died, rather than say, somebody has died. You want to present it in a way that looks so dignified, so pleasant. You won't mention that he has gone. He has gone. Or if somebody is pregnant and they want to describe the pregnancy, you can say, she has been put in a family way. Or if somebody is blind and you don't want to hurt that this one is a blind person, or a cripple, you don't want to mention that name. You can say, it's an handicap. So here, it is euphemism. You speak, in that kind of way. Something unpleasant in a pleasant manner. So that is euphemism. Can we move on to the next question? Which of the following is not a figure of association? Association here is a figure that comparison. So we have metaphor as a figure of comparison. That is what we call direct comparison. Just hit the nail on the head, tell you directly what is happening. So the metonymy is also an association. You put something in place of somebody. Representing, you can use a name to represent. Onomatopoeia, oxymoron, and simile. It is not onomatopoeia. There is the answer. It's not a figure of association at all, because this one is just a sound. The others are not sounds. It's the only one. So the sound represents something. You associate. A kind of the sound has a particular name. So if a cat, is crying, you don't call it a crying. You say it's mewing. So that mewing, the way it's crying, is associated. It's compared to. So you say that is mewing of a cat. The sound that it produces. So that's a name. So we call it mewing. So that is onomatopoeia. So it's not a figure of association. This one is association. It compares simile. This one compares oxymoron. You place two things that are dissimilar, not similar, side by side. Metonymy is you give a name to represent something. A metaphor is a direct comparison. So the answer is onomatopoeia. Let's move on to the next question. A spoken address before the commencement of a play. Look, I've talked about this the other time. I've said it. Before a play begins, and you see one of the characters comes to the stage to introduce the play, to tell you what you're about to watch. And that is common in those days in the stage, play. And it's common in the Greek play. So somebody will come up, particularly one of the character, and he say, the play you're about to watch is this. He describe the play, and he will say, happy viewing. So you see the characters will come one by one and play their role. And that's what we call the prologue. It's like introduction. Why the opposite of it is what we call epilogue. That is the conclusion. So at the end of that play, we will see introduce it. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe you have seen, you have actually watched it. How this happened. So, and probably it will tell us some of the lessons that could be learned or that have been learned in that kind of a drama. So let's move on to the next one. Italian sonnets are usually divided into, so Italian sonnet is different from that of Shakespearean sonnet. So here, the division is octave and sestet. Octave is 8 lines, while sestet is 6 lines. So the answer is A. It is not octave and tacet. Tacet is 3 lines. It's not quintet. Quintet is 5 line. Then okay. So we have seen that the answer is A, octave. That is first 8 and the last 6, which is sextet. So that is the characteristic or features of an Italian sonnet. So let's move on to the next question. The theatrical device that addresses only the audience. The theatrical device that addresses only the audience is what we call aside. Aside in the sense that the other character, they don't hear, they don't understand, they don't know. So he only speak his mind to the audience. Have you seen me, everybody? Look at me. See what happened. He's not addressing the other characters. He's only addressing the public, the audience. So, and that's what we call aside. Just aside from what is going on the stage, and he faces the audience to reveal his mind unto them. So it is not dialogue, it is not mind, it is not monologue, it is not soliloquy. So the answer is aside. Let's move on. The sequential development of events in a work of art is what we call plot. It is not setting. Setting is the place, the time, a structure, probably division, how many lines, how many of these, how many paragraphs, how many chapters, how many scenes, and style. So let's look at the style, let's look at the language, let's look at the other things that made up how the author or the writer put up his work. There is not the theme. Theme could be what is the play or the work is all about. So, but is it the plot? Plot is what happened before the other. One thing happened before another. So, you can have different type of plots. So, but something happened, then another one, something else happened. So, just like that in a sequential way. So, the answer is the plot. Sequential development of events in a work of art. One thing happened before the other. One thing happened after another. Let's move on to the next one. A plot is linear when it is, I'd like you to study the word linear. So, linear. A plot is linear when it is chronological. So, that is follow something very well arranged, order. So it's well organized, there is orderliness there. So you see, one thing happened before the other, just like what we have earlier said, sequentially. So you don't just do things without an arrangement. So there is it's well arranged. Something happened before the other. So we call it linear uh, 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 plot. So another name for it is chronologically. You know, one thing happens before the other, just like that. So it is not cyclical, it is not disjointed, it is not episodic, it is not parallel. So um, these are not the features, although they are part of the plot, but the features of linear is that it is chronological. So can we move on to the next question? Oh, death, where is thy sting? So, which example, what the type of figure of speech is used there? Oh, death, where is thy sting? Death is addressed as if it's there present, as if you are looking at, as if it's just, a human being that you can see. Although it could be, death is personified, although there's no personification here. But it is an apostrophe. It's like you are exclaiming, dead, where are you? Where is your power? Where is that thing you normally use to buy people, to kill people? Where is that thing? You have been defeated. So that's what we call apostrophe. You exclaim as if that person is there. And this is common too among the different religion, various religion, either traditional religion or Islamic or Christian religion. When they pray as if God is there. Say, oh God, where is your eyes? Where have you been to? Have you seen him? You address him as if. So say the use of apostrophe there, even in traditional way. So when they are making sacrifice, they are talking as if the gods, the demons, they are there with them presently. So that is a feature of an apostrophe. Can we move on to the next question? The regular pause at the middle of a line in a poem is, so let's look at this very well. We have a pause at the end. So we call that one Jamb. When you have a pause, probably a full stop, or you have a comma, or you have a semicolon, or you have other features like that, punctuations at the end, it is called enjambment, you pause. But here, it is within the middle of lines. So, know the difference between that. So, we call it kasura. It is kasura. So, when you have that pause, it gives the poem a kind of rhythm, rhythmica. You're able to pause and you reflect on that one. It gives a kind of rhythm. So it is called kasura. So let's note the difference between kasura and enjambment. Can we move on to the next question? My landlord is a Shylock. Is a good example of one of these figures of speech. He said, my landlord is a Shylock. I don't know how many of you have read a book by Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice. That's where we see a character called Shylock. Shylock is a money monger. He loves money and he always give out money. So if anybody needs money, you go and borrow money. But if you don't meet up, you probably, seize your property and you have to pay that money back, in a double way, or probably jail you. So Shylock is somebody who loves money, who wants to make more money. And then, so when you now use that, it's a kind of, here now, it's a reference to Merchant of Venice. So Shylock is an allusion. Allusion is an indirect reference. You are referring to something, either probably in the Bible, or a work of art, or historical, history, or classical. So you are making reference to something. That's an allusion. You are leading. You are referring to something. So my landlord is a Shylock. That is, he loves money. I don't joke with my landlord. So that is an allusion. Let's move on to the next one. The distinct way an author expresses his thoughts is, okay, let's look at how an author can express his thought. He can use language to express his, you want to look at the way author, you could use it probably to satirize. You could also use it, use the language to a kind of ridicule somebody or an unpleasant situation, something good, something funny, something serious. You can use that language, and that's what we call tone. So you will see from the language, you see that tone reflecting the way the author, feels, the feeling of the authors. You know it through that language. That is tone. Something unpleasant, something serious, something, very funny. You can see it from the way the author, manipulates language. So that's what we call tone. It is not setting, it's not structure, it is not style, and it is not theme, but tone. So that is the way the author expresses his thoughts. Let's move on to the next question. Comedy includes the following, except, so a comedy can come in several ways. You can make, let's start from here. It could be satire. You want to ridicule a particular person or a government or a people or a society. You can satirize through comedy. People can laugh, but there is something behind it, something very funny, but you are trying to make something, to make yes, to ridicule a particular, so that, a correction can be made. There could be parody. Parody is you are talking the way somebody is talking, but it could be in a funny way, in a comical way. The way he talks, you are also talking. The way he acts, you are also acting. The way he dresses, you also dress like that. You can dress the way, and you can even talk the way somebody like Obasanjo is talking, or the way the president is talking. You can imitate, and that is comedy. Then you can make caricature of something, or somebody, or a figure, or even the country, to make guess. So through comedy. Then burlesque can also be used. Something very funny and make you laugh. You laugh and laugh and laugh. So it is not buffoonery. Buffoonery is a fool. Somebody can be a fool. So naturally. So the answer is this one. Comedy does not include a fool. Somebody can just be a fool. That is the way he is, but not trying to be funny at all. Just the character, the person naturally can be a fool, a buffoon, buffoonery. So the answer is A. Comedy does not include buffoonery. Let's move on to the next question. A writer's attitude to a subject matter in a literary work determines we have mentioned this one before, tone. So it is not atmosphere, it is not mood. Writer's attitude to a subject matter in a literary work, to a subject matter, is the tone. So let's move on. The figure of contrast include. So we have mentioned something similar to this before too. A contrast, something you compare. So apostrophe, imagery, oxymoron, pun, repetition. So it is not repetition, it is not pun, it is not imagery, it is not apostrophe, it is oxymoron. That is, you put two things side by side that are contradictory to each other. For example, you can say, that is a bitter sweet. Bitter and sweet. So you look at it, bitter sweet. So bitter sweet is an example of an oxymoron. So it's a contrast. Let's move on to the next question. The use of gesture and body movements to communicate ideas in drama. So this is common too, particularly in some classical work. We also see it in Wole Soyinka's work, The Lion and the Jewel, where gestures and body movement are used to communicate. So it is called mind. You are not uttering anything. You are not saying a word. You are not saying, but your body is communicating. And you are using hands, you are using legs, you are using eyes, you are using the part of the body to pass a message to the people. And your message is received, is understood. So it is called mind in literature. Can we move on? Okay. We want to look at a passage. This is what we call unseen prose in literature. So let's look at this passage, and it's like comprehension. You have to comprehend it. You have to understand it first. So make sure you read line by line to be able to understand and answer the question correctly. You must read very well. So let's read the passage. He liked the way she had spoken about the murder. A few people had talked to him after the funeral, but he had really drifted away from the people after that, and so he had never heard someone else's view of his murder. It was precious to him. This image which Isabel had given him this morning, and he smiled now at the thoughts of his mother chattering to a little blonde schoolgirl about her days. She must like the company with him being away so much. She would have liked the little girl too, he thought, and he was happy that he had these stronger images of his mother now. And he was pleased that his word now and accommodated this funny little girl in her black dress, which he must replace. He looked out over the water, which was still today, the surface just sparkling in the sunlight, no crest or swell to disturb the tranquility. A gun flashed low over the surface, and the water lapped gently against the side of the wooden boat. So you can see that the condition here seems not to be palatable earlier, because a young boy probably lost the mother, and he has not been talking to anybody. She was sad and moody until a little girl maybe has lived with the mother in the past, and he also dressed and wear black clothes, probably to more, parts of the morning mood. And she was the only person who spoke. And when the boy looked at it for the first time after the death of the mother, he smiled. He looked at the girl. He also saw something that is common to the mother inside that girl. That reminded him of the image of the mother, the way the mother, used to behave. So he just saw that image, and that gave him, a kind of joy, relieved him of those sad period. So let's look at the questions asked there. Can we look at the question? The little girl's black dress suggests. So this is not a surface answer. You have to go deeper and look at the meaning. What does it suggest when you say black dress? Is it celebration mood? No. Fashion attire? No. Juvenile innocence? No. Morning mood? That is just it. When you see somebody wearing black, it's this suggests a morning mood, a condition of mourning. They are not happy. It is not a weather condition. So the answer there is D, morning mood. Let's move to the next question. Can we move to the next question? So, okay. The pervasive atmosphere in the narrative is that of, we want to look at the atmosphere. What is actually happening there? It is not an admiration, because it does not look somebody died, and probably not really old. So it is not a celebration. It is not a love. It is where it is money, but really money, but something happened. We can say D is the answer, melancholy, because he was not talking initially. When you look at the beginning, he wasn't talking to anybody until that guy came. So it's a melancholy situation. The atmosphere is that of melancholy because nobody is talking to nobody. Everybody was mute. Everybody was quiet until the guy came in to intervene. So the answer is D. Let's move on to the next question. The water lapped gently against the side of the wooden brick, exemplified. So let's look at that figures with the water lapped. The sound that the water produces, lap, back, 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 back. So, and it says lap gently. So when you are compare, you associate a particular sound something produces. I've said it today that you give a particular name to that sound. It is not euphemism. It is not irony. It is not so. When you beat water and the noise is producing, bang, bang, so it is lap, the lapping of the water. So it is not personification at all. Let's move on to the next question. The mood of the narrative is that of, so we look at the mood, it is not happy, it is not gaiety, it is not regret, no. It is not reminiscence. You are not, let me just look back. No, it is not. And it is not satisfaction. It is that of nostalgia, past. You look at how the mother was doing in the past. It was just sad. Looking at what happened in the past. So that's a kind of nostalgic situation. Nostalgia. So you look at the past, you reflect on the past, you think about the past. Not reminiscence. Look reminiscence, but not so. If you reminiscence, you try maybe your achievement, something good you have done in the past, you want to reminisce upon that. It is not so. It is nostalgia. Let's move on to the next question. The writer's point of view. Let's look at if you go back again, you can say the use of third person a pronoun. He, she, he, the girl. You can see that use there. So it is called, we call it omniscient. So omniscient in the sense that the writer is like, sees everything. From the word omniscient, something that can see everywhere. Look at here. Look at the thought of the speaker. You look at the mind. Look at the way he behaves. He sees everywhere. The eyes can see. Another name for it is what we call eye of God narration. The narrative, the technique, the point of view. You are looking at the eye of God. God is omnipresent. He sees everywhere. So he knows everywhere rather. Omniscient, knows everywhere, knows the mind. So the kind of thing the writer used there, the writer's point of view is that omniscient. You look at the heart, you look at the mind. It describes what is happening to the young man and how the other guy came to intervene, to intercept, the situation. So it is omniscient point of view. Can we go on to the next one? Unseen poetry. So let's look at this poem. Let's look at the text. Answer the question. When you are battered by life trouble. So can you take note of that underlying question? Battered by life trouble. And by rising, you only but stumble. So this is very philosophical. You look at what is happening in life. You stand up. Anytime you are defeated or something happened to you, don't give up. Stand up and tell yourself, I can face tomorrow. And by, I will say by and by to sorrow. So, encouraging. So, anytime you are faced with trouble in life, anytime you are passing through something very unpalatable, you are in trouble, tell yourself, I want you to stand up and face that situation. And tell that situation that I can face tomorrow. I can face tomorrow. I'm going to say bye-bye to sorrow. Nothing will happen to me. So let's look at the question there. So once you understand this one, you should be able to answer the question. The underlying expression. Please, let's go back to the underlying expression. So let's look at it. It said, battered by life trouble. So let's now see what is the meaning of this underlying expression. So what does it exemplify? So is it a metaphor, oxymoron, personification, pronoun? It is not synecdoche. Synecdoche is a part for a whole and a whole for a part. It is not pun. It's not trying to play upon word. Battered by life. It is not personification. But it does not use any quality of human. It is not oxymoron, not comparing. So the answer is metaphor. It's a metaphoric expression. It's just like, anytime you are being trouble, just like somebody is in trouble in life. So that is a metaphor. It's a direct comparison, direct the problem, the trouble you are facing in the world compared to, to unpleasant situation in the world. So let's move on to the next question. The mood of the poem, that poem. So if you are troubled, don't be discouraged. Fire on, stand up, tell yourself, I can face tomorrow. So is it anxiety? No. Is it elation? No. It's an encouragement. It's encouraging. Look, encourage yourself. Tell yourself, I can face tomorrow. Move on. So it is an encouragement. It is not hope. It is not melancholy. It's not sad at all. So it's encouraging, people. No. Move on. Move on with your life. Don't allow anything to bring you down or to stop you. Let's move on to the next question. The poem is an example of, okay, let's go back to the poem. We want to see whether it's an octave or a quatrain. So, okay, let's look at it now. We have, when you are battered by life trouble, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 4-line poem. 4-line means it's a 4-line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go down. It's a line, 4-line. So an octave is 8 line. A quatrain is a 4-line. Quintet 5 line. Sextet 6 line. Tercet 3 line. So you can see 4 line there. That is B, a quatrain. So a 4-line poem rhyming together. Let's go to the next question. The themes of the poem include the following. From that, what we have read, you are battling with life trouble, encourage yourself, move on, this and that. Courage, yes. Happiness, hope, perseverance, struggle. So, the theme of the poem include the following, except, is it courage? Courage is there. Is it happiness? Is it hope? Is it perseverance yet? Is it struggle yet? So the answer is happiness. So it's not happiness. There is no happiness there at all. But we see courage. We see hope. Yes, you have to hope. Then perseverance is also there. You have to endure and struggle because you are struggling in the world. So it's not happiness. Let's move on to the next question. The rhyme scheme of the poem. So I'll go back. Let's go back to the text again and let's look at the rhyming scheme. And what is the rhyming scheme? You look at the word that ends it. Let's look at the sound. So let's look at lives, trouble. I think it should have ended here. Life, trouble. So it should have been, this one should have ended here. Life, troubled. Then, rising you only should have been this one only. Then Jamb say and with sorrow. So if it's not well arranged here, it should have been trouble here and stumble. Okay, this one should have been stumble and trouble. A. So why don't there be sorrow and sorrow? B. The poem should have ended here and here. So that is where the poem is. So that is A. B. Can we move on to the answer? Let's check. Okay. A. This is the answer. A. So let's look at this from William Shakespeare. A Midsummer Night Dream. This is the drama from Shakespeare. So let's look at this extract. How happy some over there, over all the sun can be. Through anthems, I am taught as fair as he. But what of that? Demetrius thinks not so. He will know what all, but he do know. And as he errs, doting on Hermia's eye, so I, admiring of his qualities, things base and bad, holding no quantity, love can transpose to form and dignity. So, when you look at here now, you can discover that a particular lady is not happy. She is saying that Demetrius, she loved Demetrius, she loves her very well. And Demetrius is not looking at her side, rather, Demetrius is running after her friend called Hermias. Hermias does not yield in. She doesn't want to give in. She doesn't want to accept the love of Demetrius, but she loved Demetrius and she wants Demetrius, but Demetrius is not looking at that side. So she's, asking that, look, this love I have is more than just the love can go, the love can move, the love can move higher, can soar, can transport. As if love is a human being that can jump from one place to the other, can transform and move on to dignity. So let's look at the question there. Okay, who is the speaker? The speaker here is Helena. Our friend is Hamia. Yes, let's move on. The addressee is, she's not addressing anybody, just talking to herself. So, nobody. She's just talking to herself. Let's move on to the next question. Where is the statement made? Okay, it's in our father's room. That is eagles, just expressing her thought, expressing her mind, because she's trying to tell, herself that look at the man I love. And he's not looking at my side. And he's looking at another person. He's running after another person that is not even, watching at all. But me, I'm dying of love here. And my love can move, can transport, can change, and move on to a dignity, a dignified level. So let's move on to the next question. The mood of the atmosphere shows anxiety, bewilderment, excitement, hopefulness, reflection. Yes, it's a reflection. It's reflecting on what happened to her. It's a reflection. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, the underlying expression. Love can transpose to form and dignity. Love can transpose to form and dignity. As if love is a human being. That is personification. Personification is that you are using human quality, and to something that is inanimate, something that is not human. As if love is a human being that can easily move and jump and transport and move on like that. So let's move on to the next question. Let's read this extract, the same from Shakespeare. I pray thee, give it me. I know a band where the white sign blows, where the white time, that is the river environment, where those time, the flowers, they can blow and blow water as if they are human beings that can take water away. They are just blowing water like this. Where ox leaves and the nodding violet grow, quite over canopied with lustrous woodbine, with sweet musk roses, and with England tie. That's Act 2, Scene 1. So let's look at what is happening here. Can we go to the question? The speech is made by Button, Aegeus, Lysandra, Oberon, and Theseus. This is made by uh, Oberon. It's Oberon. So let's move on to the next question. It's Oberon. The speaker is addressing, Oberon there. Oberon is a magician and is trying to say that I can use flour to make magic. He's trying to talk to his followers, the servant, and that is Paul. So he wanted to hand over a magical flower that will make somebody to sleep or make somebody to love, the flower of love, so that the mentors can love the girl. So let's go on. That is pork. It's being addressed there. Move on to the next question. The scene is a courtyard in Antes. No, a wood near Antes. Yes, it's a wood, a bush, very in a wilderness where they are. So it's a wood near Antes, not near Crete, not another part. So it is a wood near Antes. Let's move on to the next question. The underlying expression, I know a band where the wise time blow, that is personification, as if it's a human being that can begin to blow water and blow everything. So let's move on to the next question. Okay, what does the speaker want to collect from the addressee? I've already mentioning the flower that will make the man to love the girl. So you put the flower in the eyes, and immediately they begin to